Space is full of strange signals. Most of them are just static or broken messages from old ships. But one day, a signal came through that no one expected. It was ancient, really, really old. The kind of signal that should have stopped working thousands of years ago. But it was still active, still calling out for help. It had one message, SOS, and attached to it were coordinates directions to a place no one ever dared to go. That place was Veltrax 9, a Class 7 DeathWorld dot in galactic terms. That means stay far, far away. DeathWorlds are planets that kill everything. Their weather is violent. The gravity can crush metal. The air burns your lungs, and the creatures that live there are so deadly they hunt starships like prey. Most intelligent alien species consider DeathWorlds cursed. Even the strongest warriors or smartest scientists avoid them. So when the signal pointed to Veltrax 9, all the major alien civilizations ignored it. They were too afraid. They didn't care who was asking for help. Whoever sent that message was already dead. No one survived Veltrax 9, but humans are different. They're known across the galaxy as DeathWorlders too. Earth, their home, is actually a mild death world. That means humans evolved on a dangerous planet, and it made them tough mentally and physically. Other aliens think humans are crazy. They fight monsters. They live in storms. They survive places no one else can. So when the signal reached a human ship, it didn't get ignored. And that's how Lieutenant Zara Riker heard it. Zara was a human soldier, a scout. She was trained to survive alone in hard places. But even for her, Veltrax 9 was too much. Her ship had been flying near the planet when something went wrong. A surprise plasma storm hit her dropship and knocked her out of the sky. She crashed hard. Her team was gone. Burned or buried in the crash. Her supplies? All destroyed. The only thing that still worked was her damaged exosuit armor that helped her walk, breathe, and fight, and a half-broken plasma rifle. She was alone, stranded, and surrounded by a planet that wanted her dead. The weather was brutal. The wind cut like blades. The grass was sharp enough to slice flesh. Giant beasts roamed in the distance, some with too many eyes, some with jaws big enough to swallow a tank. Zara was surviving barely. She moved slowly, ate bugs, drank filtered acid rain. She slept in caves and always kept her gun ready. One day, while fixing her comms device, she caught something strange, a repeating signal, SOS. SOS, unknown lifeform trapped, coordinates uploaded. Zara paused. It wasn't a human signal. It was alien. The voice was weak robotic, but it had the same coordinates as her crash site. That meant someone else was here, and they were alive. Zara could have ignored it. The smart thing would be to stay hidden and hope rescue came. But she wasn't built that way. She stood up, tightened her armor, and whispered to herself, "If someone's alive out here, I'm getting them." Out. It was a long walk. She crossed fields of razorgrass tall, silver bluegrass that sliced through metal like paper. Her suit hissed and sparked with every cut. She climbed over bones of creatures bigger than houses. She walked under skies that glowed red with constant lightning. She avoided burrowing insects the size of cars, which made the ground tremble. As they moved underneath, finally, she reached the source of the signal, an ancient alien ruin. It looked like a fortress made of black stone and glowing metal, half buried in sand and dust. Time had nearly destroyed it, but it still pulsed with a faint blue light. Zara approached carefully. Her helmet scanned the building. No human tech. No readable language. But signs of life, yes. Something inside was still alive. She stepped into the ruins, gun ready. The hallways were tight, dark, filled with old machinery. Strange carvings were on the walls, showing pictures of tall aliens with glowing eyes and massive weapons. Some of the images showed them fighting monsters, others showed them creating machines that looked like living things. Her suit beeped. Life signs detected. Not human. Species unknown. Motion detected. Behind you. Zara's heart skipped out. She spun around fast. A massive creature lunged at her from the shadows. It was like nothing she'd ever seen before. It stood over 12 feet tall, with thick muscle, clawed arms, and a face full of sharp teeth. Its skin was like armor, pulsing with red light. It looked both alive and built half beast, half machine. Zara didn't hesitate. She fired, lighting up the hallway with blue plasma bolts. The blasts hit the creature, but it didn't stop. It roared a sound that shook the walls and charged again. She rolled out of the way, her exosuit screeching as it took the hit. Sparks flew. The ground cracked. Her rifle shook in her hands. She fired again twice. It slowed the monster, but not by much. Zara realized something terrible. This creature wasn't just a wild animal. It was guarding the ruin, and whatever was inside, whatever had sent that says, it was something this creature didn't want anyone to reach. Zara gritted her teeth. She wasn't just fighting to survive anymore. She was caught in something bigger, something ancient, something deadly. And she had to choose, run and live a little longer, or go deeper and find the truth. Zara made her choice. She turned away from the monster and ran into the ruins, deeper into the unknown. The walls lit up. The ground trembled. The signal was still calling, and someone or something was waiting at the end. Zara ran as fast as she could through the dark ruins. The huge monster behind her roared again, its footsteps shaking the ground like thunder. The sound of its claws scraping the stone walls echoed all around her. She ducked under broken archways and jumped over rubble. Her exosuit kept sparking from earlier damage, and her breathing grew heavy. She was almost out of energy, and almost out of ammo too, but she couldn't stop. If she did, she knew the creature would tear her apart. It was a terrifying mix of animal and machine. Its muscles were huge, like a gorilla, but its legs moved like a giant spider's. It had glowing red eyes, a wide mouth filled with metal teeth, and thick armor covering its body. Zara had shot it before, but the plasma blast barely hurt it. This thing wasn't natural. It had been designed to kill anything that entered the ruins. She fired over her shoulder 2 more blue plasma shots. They hit its chest, slowing it down for just a second. But she only had 4 shots left. Her suit flashed a warning. No backup power, no recharge. The fight couldn't last much longer. Zara darted into a narrow hallway. The creature tried to follow but got stuck for a moment, roaring in frustration. She used that time to dive down a flight of stairs, sliding into the lower levels of the ruin. It was darker down here, colder. The walls were smoother, with strange glowing lines running. Across them ancient tech, still alive somehow. Then, suddenly, everything went quiet. No sound. No monster. No movement. Zara stopped. Her heart pounded in her chest. Her gun was up. Her helmet scanner was searching. Nothing. The monster was gone. That silence made her even more nervous. She knew it hadn't given up. It was waiting. Maybe trying to trap her. Maybe it had backup. She kept moving slowly now, deeper into the ruin. And then she saw something that made her freeze. A glass cell glowing faintly. Inside it was a strange alien being. It was thin, almost fragile looking, with metallic skin that shimmered like liquid silver. Its body was covered in glowing lines that pulsed gently, like soft breathing. Its face was smooth, with no mouth. Just two large yellow eyes that glowed in the dark. It looked at her with fear and something else. Hope. It placed a hand on the glass. Human. A voice echoed in Zara's ears. It didn't come from her radio. It was like the words entered her mind directly. Help? Zara stepped closer, lowering her weapon just a little. Are you the one who sent the signal? She asked. The alien nodded weakly. It looked like it could barely stand. Zara looked around. There were old machines connected to the cell. Symbols she didn't understand flickered on nearby walls. Everything in the room felt ancient, older than any species she knew. But before she could ask more questions, the walls shook. Boom. Dust fell from the ceiling. A loud crash echoed above them. The monster was back. And it wasn't alone. The alien's eyes widened. In panic, it spoke again, louder now. They're awake. You must not let them out. Zara's hands tightened on her rifle. Who? The alien looked down. Its voice became a whisper in her mind. The ones who made this world a death world. Zara's breath caught in her throat. That meant this planet wasn't just deadly on its own. It had been turned into a nightmare on purpose. Something had created the monsters. Built them, left them here. She turned back to the alien. Why are you locked up? I tried to stop them, it said. They were going to release the weapon. I failed. Zara had more questions, but the moment was gone. A loud roar echoed through the ruins, then another. More than one creature. Heavy footsteps, claws scratching stone. The air itself seemed to vibrate with danger. She ran to the control panel beside the alien cell. Most of it was broken or glowing with warnings, in a language she didn't understand. But she saw one blinking button. The only one lit green. She hit it. The glass hissed and slid open. The alien collapsed forward into her arms. It was lighter than it looked. She helped it stand. There's a chamber, it said, pointing deeper. Into the ruins. It holds the core. If they reach it, it will activate. Activate what? The weapon. The end of worlds. Zara's mind raced. The monsters weren't just guards. They were protecting something. Something big. And deadly. Something that had been waiting all this time. The ground shook again. They didn't have long. Zara picked up the alien, helping it walk. She moved fast down the dark corridor toward the core chamber. Behind her, howls and screeches echoed louder and louder. When they reached the next room, her eyes widened. The core chamber was huge round, with smooth black walls covered in glowing symbols. In the center stood a strange machine, hovering slightly above the floor. It was the size of a tank, shaped like a giant heart, with long cables and tubes feeding into it. From all sides it glowed with energy. It looked alive, like it was waiting. Zara scanned it with her helmet. Alert. Class Omega weapon. Power. Active. Standby mode. Warning. Planet-level destruction possible. She stared at the machine in disbelief. This was no simple trap. This was a planet killer, and it was waking up. Suddenly, her helmet buzzed with a new sound. A signal. This is DeathWorlder. Fleet Omega-3. We received the SOS. Human forces inbound. ETA. 2 minutes. Help was coming. Her people had arrived. Zara smiled until the alien grabbed her arm. No, you must stop them. If they land, if they step on this ground, it will trigger the final lock. The weapon will spread. It was made to infect the strongest, to learn from them. It will copy your kind, and it will never stop. Zara's smile vanished. She looked at the weapon again, and then at the sky. Where dropships were already breaking through the clouds, she wasn't here to be saved anymore. She was here to stop a nightmare from waking up. Zara Riker stood in front of the alien weapon, her heart pounding. The huge machine glowed in the center of the chamber, giving off a soft humming sound that felt alive. It wasn't just a machine, it was a weapon made to destroy entire planets. Her helmet scan called it a Class Omega weapon, the most dangerous kind. If it was activated, it could erase life on a massive scale. The alien she had rescued was leaning weakly against a wall, barely able to stand. It looked at her with glowing yellow eyes filled with fear. You must stop your people, it said. Again, the DeathWorlders. If they touch the ground, the final lock will break. The weapon will copy your kind. Copy us? Zara asked, confused. It learns from the strongest, the alien whispered. It copies their minds, their weapons, their rage. Your species will make it perfect. Zara's blood ran cold. She thought her people were coming to help, but now it was clear. The arrival of the human fleet would make everything worse. The weapon wasn't just dangerous, it was waiting for them. For humans. Once it scanned a DeathWorlder, it would become unstoppable. And right then, the worst thing happened. The ground above them cracked open with a loud boom. Dust rained down. Stone shattered. The giant monsters, those part animal, part machine. Creatures burst into the chamber, roaring like thunder. They had followed her, and they brought friends. There were now 4 of them, huge, fast, angry. Their metal skin glowed red, their claws sparking with energy. These things were not dumb animals. They were guards, designed to protect the weapon from anyone who tried to stop it. Zara stepped in front of the alien and raised her plasma rifle. Only 2 shots left. Not enough. The first monster charged. Zara fired 1 shot straight into its glowing eye. The blast melted part of its head, but it kept coming. She jumped to the side just in time. The creature slammed into the wall, smashing through ancient stone like paper. She didn't stop. She ran to the side of the chamber, leading the monsters. Away from the alien, she was bleeding now. One of her ribs had cracked from the earlier fight. Her leg burned from where one of the claws had grazed her. Her exosuit was falling apart, sparking, leaking, and making her slower with every step. But she didn't stop, because if she stopped, everything died. She used her last shot to blast a pipe from the ceiling. It dropped hot gas on one of the creatures, making it scream and stumble. Then she grabbed a metal beam from the floor and swung it hard at another, bashing its legs. She was fast, smart, and furious. This was what humans were made for. She was a DeathWorlder, and DeathWorlders don't quit. The alien in the corner began crawling toward the weapon. pressing buttons, trying to slow the activation. But the core was glowing brighter now. It had sensed the monsters, the chaos, the fighting. It was waking up faster. Then her helmet beeped again. Fleet Omega-3 has entered the atmosphere, landing in 30 seconds. No. If they landed, it was over. Zara ran to the weapon console, grabbing a loose cable from the ground. She connected it to her suit. The system beeped as her biosignal synced with the weapon. Her HUD heads-up display changed. New words appeared. Override attempt detected. Input identity. She shouted into her helmet. Lieutenant Zara Riker, human, DeathWorlder. The weapon paused. The glow dimmed slightly. Then new words appeared. DeathWorlder confirmed. Override access granted. The alien gasped in shock. It listens to you. Zara didn't stop. She opened a panel on the weapon side and shoved her plasma rifle inside. She set it to overload mode, a dangerous setting that would make it explode like a mini dash bomb. The timer ticked down 10 seconds. She looked at the alien. Get back. This is going to blow. The alien crawled away, weak but alive. But then one of the monsters leapt from above. It came straight down toward her like a missile, claws wide, mouth open. Too fast. Too close. Too late. Zara grabbed a broken shield from the floor and raised it. Crash. The creature slammed into her, throwing her across the room. Her back hit the wall. Pain shot through her whole body. Her helmet cracked. Blood filled her mouth, but the weapon still ticking. 3, 2, her HUD blinked. Overload failed. Weapon protected by lockdown. Zara coughed hard. No, it wasn't enough. The rifle's explosion wouldn't work. The weapon had too many shields, too much armor. It was made to survive everything, even a DeathWorld. But she still had one thing left out herself. She crawled to the core. Dragging her broken body, blood dripping from her mouth, she placed her hand on the weapon. Override again, she whispered. This time, complete shutdown. The system hesitated. Then it asked, Final override requires sacrifice. Confirm? Zara looked up. The alien was watching her from the shadows, eyes full of pain. Outside, the fleet was almost there. She smiled. Confirmed. The chamber filled with light. Everything shook. A blast of energy shot upward, slicing through the planets. Pressed like a sword of light. From orbit, the human fleet saw it, a tower of glowing blue fire blasting into space. Then nothing. Silence. Smoke. Ruins. Hours passed. When the fleet finally landed, they found nothing but ash and cracked stone. No monsters. No weapon. No sign of the alien tech. And no sign of Zara Riker. But near the center of the ruin, they found her. Helmet. And on the stone next to it, burned deep into the floor, were words. The weapon is gone. Humanity passed the test. But I'm not done fighting. The soldiers looked at each other, confused. Moved. One of them swore he saw movement in the shadows. Not a monster, a figure. Walking alone. Alive. Zara Riker was gone. Or maybe she had become something new. Zara Riker should have been dead. The last thing she remembered was placing her hand on the glowing alien weapon, choosing to override it with her own life. The core had begun to melt down, light bursting from every crack in the room. Her suit had failed, her helmet cracked, and her body was broken. But she didn't care. She had stopped the monsters. She had stopped the weapon, or so she thought. Now she woke up somewhere strange. She was floating, but not in space. It felt like a dream or a memory that wasn't hers. Everything around her was silver, smooth, and bright. Shapes and lights swirled like fog. And in front of her stood a familiar figure, the alien she had saved, but it looked different now, taller, stronger. The lines on its body glowed brighter. It looked more alive. "Where am I?" Zara asked, her voice weak. "You're in the Echo Core," the alien said gently. "You didn't die. You connected with the weapon. Now you are part of it." Zara stared at her hands. They were glowing faintly, and she didn't feel pain anymore. Not in her chest. Not in her broken ribs or bleeding skin. "What do you mean, part of it?" she asked, confused. "The weapon accepted you," the alien explained. "It was not just made to destroy. It was made to judge. It was built by an ancient species who believed in only one thing, strength. They made DeathWorlds to test others, to see who would survive, who would fight, who would choose life over destruction." Zara's eyes widened. "It was a test?" "Yes," the alien said, "and you passed it. Not just with strength, but with sacrifice." Zara stood up. Her body moved smoothly, stronger than before. She could feel something inside her. A power. A connection to the planet. To the machine. To everything. "You're saying I'm what? A guardian now?" she asked. The alien nodded slowly. "Yes, and the danger is not over." Suddenly, the glowing silver world around them changed. It turned dark. Storms swirled overhead. The ground cracked. The image of Earth appeared in the sky, but it was burning. Cities turned to fire. Ships fell from orbit. Monsters like the ones from the ruins crawled over the land. Zara gasped. "What is this?" "The future," the alien said. "If we don't stop it." Zara clenched her fists. "But I shut down the weapon. I destroyed it." The alien looked away. "You delayed it. The weapon core was only one piece. The true danger is already spreading." It showed her a vision of the DeathWorlder fleet, her people landing on the surface. Some soldiers had found pieces of the ruined core. They had taken samples, studied the machines. Without knowing, they had triggered the next phase. The weapon had copied them, copied humanity, and now it was learning faster than anyone could imagine. Zara's heart dropped. "Then we have to stop it, now." The alien reached out and touched her chest. "That's why you're still alive. You carry the code now, the only thing that can fight what's coming." Zara's body began to glow. Her armor reformed around her, smoother and sharper. Her eyes glowed blue. Her strength returned and more. She could feel the planet around her, the machines buried deep, the power in the air. She wasn't just Zara Riker anymore. She was the last DeathWorlder, the only one who could stop the weapon. Back on the surface, chaos had already begun. The human fleet had set up camp near the ruins. Scientists poked at the weapon pieces. Soldiers guarded the perimeter. No one had seen Zara. No one had heard from her. They thought she was dead. Then the sky turned black. The clouds twisted into spirals. Strange shapes appeared on the horizon. Metallic creatures, part flesh, part tech, rose from the ground, crawling like insects, but much larger. They looked like the monsters from the ruins, but worse, faster, smarter, and they were coming straight for the fleet. Contact. We've got incoming hundreds of them. A soldier shouted. The fleet opened fire. Plasma cannons, missiles, drones. But the creatures adapted. Their bodies shifted to block shots. Some turned invisible. Others flew into the air, ripping ships apart. Within minutes, the camp was overrun. The soldiers fought hard, but they were outnumbered, and OUTMATCHED. And just when it looked like all hope was gone, she returned. Zara Riker dropped from the sky like a meteor, crashing into the center of the battlefield. Her armor glowed with white-blue light. Her eyes burned like fire. She raised her hand and sent a wave of energy out that blasted dozens of creatures into dust. The soldiers stared. Is that Riker? Someone shouted. She's alive. But she wasn't just alive. She was something else now. She ran straight into the enemy lines, slashing with energy blades formed from her own suit. Bullets and plasma didn't touch her. Her moves were fast, brutal, perfect. She tore through. Monsters like they were made of paper, and behind her, hope returned. The soldiers followed her lead. They pushed forward again. They believed again. But the weapon had one more trick left. From the shadows, a final monster stepped forward taller than a building, covered in black armor. Its face was human, Zara's face, a copy. The weapon had made its own version of her, a dark reflection, all her rage, all her power. None of her mercy. The two Zaras stared at each other, and then they charged. The battle was brutal. Fists cracked stone. Energy blasts lit the sky. Buildings fell around them. Every move was a mirror. Every hit was personal, but Zara had one thing the copy didn't. Afaso didn't. Reason to fight. She wasn't fighting for power. She was fighting for her people, for the alien who warned her, for every world that might fall next. She grabbed the fake Zara by the neck and whispered, "You don't get to wear my face." Then she unleashed all her power in one final blast-light shot through the sky, lighting up the whole battlefield. And when the dust cleared, the copy was gone. The creatures fell, dead. Silent. And the weapon network shut down for good. Later. The fleet gathered around her. Zara stood on a hill, watching the sun rise over the broken world. Her armor cracked and smoked, but she was still standing. The general walked up to her. "We thought we lost you," he said. Zara smiled faintly. "I thought the same. What now?" She looked out over the horizon. "The weapon's gone," she said. "But whoever built it, they're still out there." The general nodded slowly. "You going after them?" Zara looked up at the sky. "I have to." The alien, now fully healed, stepped beside her. "Not alone?" Zara smiled. Humanity had been tested, and they passed. But the war wasn't over. It was just beginning.